Hi, Keith here from North 40 Fly Shop. A few years back, probably about 6, the guys were coming into the store, local anglers, and they were looking for spoons, mainly to go fish Omak Lake, and they were picking up stuff like Castmasters and little Cleos and that kind of stuff, and having quite good success with them. And I thought, you know, that's something wouldn't hurt us to give it a shot. Just an all real flashy streamer. And then I got to thinking, you know, hey, the Kreelix fly that was designed back in 1992 by Chuck Kraft might fit that bill. So I didn't have the Kreelix material at the time, so I did some with Flashaboo, but then I finally ordered the Kreelix material myself, and then we started carrying it. But and it worked good. But I wanted something with a little bit more jiggy action. Really, in all honesty, you cannot improve on Mr. Kraft's fly, but I just need something just a little bit different, and that's why I tied it up on the jig hook. Otherwise, it's the same design. You just can't improve on a good fly as it is, and this is one that very little change on it will improve it. So I put it on a 60 degree. This is a size 4 hook. And the only other thing that's different is I put some red dubbing where the gill would be. You know how I am, like I've said before, I like a little red in my patterns, and it just seemed to work. And we've done really good with this. This gets it right down to the bottom. You can kind of twitch that thing along the bottom and it swims up and down, whether, I'm not sure what they think, it's either a minnow or a sculpin or whatever. I tie this in a variety of different colors, mainly for like Omak Lake and some of the other areas that I fish. Green top and either a pearl or silver bottom. So let's get started. It's a simple fly, doesn't take a whole lot, I hope, for you to follow along. The hook I have in the vise is a size 4 S506 Umpqua 60 degree jig hook. You can do this, I like the 4, it's a little bigger fly, but it works really good, but you can do it all the way down to like a size 8 if you want. We're going to tie in everything now, and I use the white UTC 140 denier thread. The nice thing about white is that you can use a felt marker and change colors on head or body and stuff if you want. If you don't feel comfortable with the 140, you can go to a 210, but I don't have a problem with the 140. It works just fine for me. So we'll get our thread base started. And for the eyes, we're going to use a new product that we're carrying. It's the Squatchy dumbbell eyes, and this is the gold yellow. It's a 4.8 millimeter. This is put out by the Fly Project. So when we attach these, we're going to attach these almost to the middle of the hook shank. And the only reason I'm doing that is to give myself enough space for the head of the hook. When you tie this in, because of the material, it takes a lot of room. So so we'll do figure 8s here, get this tied in real good, and so just do a whole bunch of figure 8s, you know, and then I do a over and under between the hook shank and the eyes, and that kind of tightens up the thread and pulls it in tight from your crisscrossing. So you want to do this periodically until you think you got that thing in there good and tight. Make sure it's centered really good. Feels right. And just to add a little security, I will then add a little bit of Zap-A-Gap on the top, just a drop there, and a drop there. And then we're going to get our thread taken all the way back, right to the bend. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take some of our pearl Kreelex flash, and yeah, maybe about a half a pencil thickness. And this is going to be both the tail and the belly. So we're going to tie that in right about like that, so you got plenty coming over because it's going to be bent back. So you want to wrap this good and tight, and you want to keep your thread wraps right next to each other so that everything looks nice and pretty. So excuse my hands if they're in the way, but I want to hold everything in there the right way. So because I want to keep that nice and tight right on top. Kind of gets to hold that in. So we're going to wrap these all the way up to the eyes. Keep that gathered up a little bit. And when we're right up to the eyes, we're going to kind of pull that in toward the eyes to get that snugged up real good. Get that parted out of the way. And the next thing is we're going to put in our gill material, and what we're using is the CLF Dave Whitlock minnow gills dubbing. You're not going to need much. Do I need it? Does it make a difference? Well, I think so. As you know me, I always like a little red in some of my minnow patterns, so kind of creates a little bit of a, I guess, a hot spot too. So we're just going to wrap that right in close behind there, right up next to the hook to the eyes. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to pull all this, we're going to advance our thread forward to about there. Pull our Kreelex material forward, and then we're going to wrap back to the eyes. Get that in there good and tight, right up against the eyes. And we're going to go underneath and over again. Then we're going to take this, whoops, yeah, reverse that a little bit. I forgot one step. Now we're going to reverse this back over, and then we're going to wrap over where we just bent it back, like that. Tighten in there. Then go over and go underneath the eyes and then over the material. And you want to give that a good pull, but just be careful not to pull too tight. There you go. That's what we want. And we're going to kind of gather that all up out of the way a little bit. And we're going to take it around. There we go. Now, some people wait until they're completely done. I don't, to trim this off. So I'm going to take it back, take it about maybe a hook length back. And we're going to gather that up and clip it off just like that. I'm going to do the same with our tail. And we're going to do about 2 hook lengths back. Like that. Now we're going to flip it upside down, and again, so this time we're not going to use as much, about roughly about that much right there. This is where the hair scissors come in handy. Longer jaws, you get a nice clean cut. Almost. So now we're going to take this and kind of right about halfway point, we're going to take and bring that up and put it underneath the thread. Yeah, let's take our thread back a little bit there. There we go. Just like that. And then we're going to gather that all up like so. Bring that down, tighten it up, and start wrapping back. And you want to kind of keep a hold of your material, keep it right over the eyes, just like that. And now we're just going to build up the head a little bit, clean that all up, get a good taper. It'll take a little extra thread here to get this all done, so this is about the time that maybe they'll speed up the film. head built up with a fairly good taper, just like that. Now we'll just get a whip finish. Like so. And probably do a couple more. Like that. Pretty much done with the tying. So now what we're going to do is take that out for a second. I'm going to gather up my top material. Put that back in. And so you want to trim this back to about the same distance as your bottom. Like so. Split those around the hook. Alright. Trim off a few unrulies. Alright. One other step is this is where I color the head, and I'm just going to use an olive marker and just run it on the top, kind of blend it in with the back, like so. And then we're going to take some Loon Flow and we're going to seal the head up. Take our Loon UV light. So that's all there is to it. If you're going to fish this in the shallows like I do at Omak, I use a intermediate line, works the best. You can run this with a floating line if you're going to fish shallows with a longer leader. I'm more in favor of the intermediate just because of the sink rate. So there you go. Simple fly, easy to use. It'll work rivers, lakes. You can tie it any size you want. If you have any questions, get a hold of me at north40flyshop.com, or you can give me a call here at the Omak store. So until next time, have a good one.